This colony of creatures appears viable for the short term only.
Boy, these alphans are healthy little beggars. They're multiplying at a phenomenal rate.
This colony of creatures appears viable for the short term only.
These omegans are incredible. They metabolize almost everything, which explains how they give off that glow.
I don't know why, but I could not get a good sampling.
Mr. Johns, are you certain that you can't get that sample sequenced?
I'll try it again, Captain. Another failure. I'll try again, if that's what you want.
Captain, it is unusual for an officer of Ensign John's skill to be unable to replicate the alpha sample.
Are you accusing me of lying, Mr. Spock?
There is a 99.97% probability that you are attempting to mislead us. The punishment for intentionally misleading one's commanding officer is court-martial.
How unusual. Maybe I should have a go at this problem.
I don't think you'll be able to help, Doctor.
Look, Ensign, you've already crossed the line between incompetence and insubordination. I'm trying to help save your career.
I appreciate your effort, but you can't help me.
Ensign, let Dr. McCoy try that troublesome sequence.
I can do the job, sir, if I can have some peace and quiet here.
Mr. Calm down, Ensign. No one is criticizing you. I just need answers.
I appreciate the offer, Captain, but I know what's right and wrong here, so I don't need your help.
Ensign, I appreciate your situation, but this is not the time for philosophy. You have a job to do.
You don't understand, Captain. Look at the Alphans and look at the Omegans. There's so much evil in the universe. You're asking me to destroy a race of good and beauty by mixing their genetics with something ugly, something evil. I can't do it.
Ensign, I think you're confusing things. The Alphans and Omegans are single-celled creatures. While the projections may have seemed sophisticated and human, they are constructs. You can look at the sequence and tell what you have there for DNA could never produce such a creature, can't you?
Single cells. You're right. I've been a real idiot. I suppose I should take a refresher course in Aesop.
It wouldn't hurt. Some of the wisest people in history have written for children.
Never judge an input card by its label. I guess that was the trap I fell into and kept me from doing my job and made me deceive my captain.
If it's any consolation, you're not very good at deception, Ensign.
Thank you, sir. I hope you'll give me a chance to correct my mistakes. Do you think we're really meant to combine the two races?
You've programmed the sequences. You can tell whether they're compatible.
Sir, the sequencer indicates that they need to be combined for their continual survival. But how did you know?
I listened to Dr. McCoy. It seemed the logical conclusion, given the evidence.
Thank you, Captain.
The alpha sample is sequenced, sir. This sample sequence is like a dream. The two samples have joined together as easily as if they had once been a whole and had been separated before.
Any race that had this technology 50,000 years ago could possibly have been able to perform such a dissection and kept both halves alive.
Captain, with the samples sequenced together, I'm ready to use the replicator to produce a sample with the combined genetic data. I am producing a new culture, Captain. Captain, the genetic sequence is still stored in the computer. If we need another sample, the replicator can generate it.
No effect.
I officially christen this life form the Gammons.
This colony of creatures appears viable for the long term, quite vital and thriving.
These combined creatures have a triangular structure. These Gammons have the energy efficiency of the Omegans and the reproductive rate of the Alphans.
No, I don't think that's necessary.
Well, Jim, it doesn't look like it does anything. Oh, I guess I spoke too soon. It took it in. It looks as if the colony is getting a foothold in there.
Life energy levels are spiking. They're building to a level sufficient for sending out a signal 100 times stronger than the one that brought us here, Captain.
The Gammon sample appears to be thriving in this environment.
Thank you for your hard work. You have fulfilled the design for which we were created. I am authorized to tell you the true nature of this planet and those who brought you here. All you need do is ask.
Energy levels behind this glass are more than sufficient for having powered the distress signal we received. In addition, I detect a nutrient replicator within the apparatus, capable of feeding organism for thousands of centuries. This projection is being cycled at 1,000 frames a second, which suggests the equipment was designed to function in the presence of a race that has a sharper visual acuity than the human or Vulcan races.
There's nothing living in here, but there are nutrients capable of sustaining large quantities of life. Whatever he is, he's not alive. I get no readings at all from him.
Thank you, Captain, for your aid in constituting my people and in the unexpected necessary realignment of our communications array. You have performed admirably. Of the 16 stations reporting at this point, there have been 50% fatalities, 30% other failures, and only 20% successes. One group got points for style.
Points, your appreciation is welcome, but many questions remain unanswered. Who are you?
I am Sisissa, a projection of a synthesis of Ozra and Visner. Clearly you know that the primitive life forms you have been dealing with are incapable of creating that in which you now stand. You will also note that the more demonic of the creatures displayed a passivity you did not expect, while the morally pure creature was aggressive and bloodthirsty.
The contradictions were noted and duly dealt with. I take it you were testing us on our ability to deal with disparate and contradictory inputs.
Yes, your reasoning ability was being tested, as well as your ability to adapt to new ideas when they conflict with deeply held beliefs and cultural customs. You passed quite admirably. The Brassica are impressed.
I'm not clear on who the Brassica are.
Captain, from this site I can deduce various things about the Brassica. They are taller and more slender than we are. They are possessed of 3 fingers and a thumb on each hand. I suppose bilateral symmetry, and I know they possess greater visual acuity than humans. They visited this place well before humans had left the Cro-Magnon stage of development. And I note they have avoided detection by us, and presumably every other race in the universe, before they decided to send out signals to bring us to their bases.
Thank you, Mr. Spock.
And more you shall know as you continue on the quest. I wish you luck.
Kirk to Enterprise, Scotty, 4 to beam up.
Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end.
In this case, Bones, a new beginning. We were the midwives for the rebirth of a life form. Two halves that have been made whole again. That's the way it was meant to be.
And let us hope that this is the end of Ensign John's prejudices.
We can all learn to stop judging people by appearances. Ensign Johns might have done well to remember the biblical representation of Lucifer, appearing in the guise of an angel of light.
You can never trust anybody, and people who look like pointy-eared hobgoblins are definitely at the bottom of the list.
It appears that Dr. McCoy did not learn the lesson of this mission either. Unfortunate, but not unexpected.
Fortunately, the Alphans and the Omegans learned philosophy and personal belief are not as easily divorced from logic as some would believe. We humans attain our greatest fulfillment when both of them are united.
Really, Captain?
Really? But I've had enough philosophy for one day. I'd rather worry about these Brassica and their cosmic quest.
Well, with me aboard, we're sure to get points for style.
Many questions remain unanswered, Captain.
And there's only one way to answer them.
Captain, message from Starfleet.
Bring it up, Lieutenant.
I reviewed your report from your recent assignment, Captain, and have a few comments. I am very pleased with your performance. It was a perfect mission, Jim. Your reputation as Starfleet's best starship captain is secure. Kane out.
Ahead, Mr. Sulu. Warp Factor 5.
Leaving orbit. Increasing to warp factor 5.